morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Good morning. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk, a little bit later edition here on CKLU 96.7 FM on the radio, cklu.ca online. We apologize for that. It's going to be a truncated half an hour version of the show, and we're not sure how we're going to do that. When today there's enough news to fill a whole show just with local news, we have to have a shorter version of the show. So unfortunately, it is what it is. Technology, it just continues to be what technology is. And it definitely was meant to make our lives easier, but I don't think they actually achieve that goal by making technology such a big part of our lives. But without technology, we wouldn't be able to bring you the show each and every day. So anyways, we're grateful for what we're able to do in the short time that we have. And I apologize to everybody because there has been some issues with Facebook and stuff. And people are probably thinking, oh, it's not allowing it to be on. And that's not the case. Although this morning it actually didn't allow the show originally to go on after we were already late, after there were already 3 different things that we were working on trying to get the show up and running. Anyways, it is what it is. We got up and running. It's going to be a short show. We're going to try and fit in as many things as we can in a short period of time. Get your comments. The Wolves are in the playoffs tonight for the first game in Mississauga. The Five are in action on Saturday night here in Sudbury. We got weather that as I predicted, is going exactly the way I predicted. We were originally forecast for 3 sunny days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and now it's cloudy tomorrow. There's a chance of snow on Saturday. It's still holding out as a forecast to be sunny on Sunday. However, we'll see if we even get one sunny day, and we'll go back on Monday and see Billy's prediction or my prediction, which one came true. Anyways, great show, even though it's going to be short. We're live on Facebook and YouTube, CKLU. Hang on, it's going to be a fast show. We'll be back right after this. Dive in with some weather first. And Sudbury weather brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. Currently it's -2, -2. Feels like -5 with some light snow, mainly cloudy with a 60% chance of flurries today. Wind will be gusting to 30 kilometers. High of +1. Wind chill will feel like -9 in the morning tonight. Cloudy, 30% chance of flurries early this evening. And low of -9. Wind chill -7 in the evening. And -12 overnight. Friday, overcast. It's not sunny, as was forecast yesterday and the day before at least. It will be overcast, just like I predicted. +3 is your temperature, and -14 in the morning. And then Saturday, a 30% chance of flurries with a high of 4. Not sunny, as it was saying a couple days ago. But Sunday, +6 and sunny so far. I'll believe it when I see it. And then Monday, cloudy with a +4. Tuesday, cloudy, chance of flurries, high of 5. 40% chance of flurries on Tuesday and 40% chance of flurries on Wednesday, high of +5. So that's your forecast, your long range. Look at your satellite, which we're still waiting for a more updated one. So there you go. Let's see if it will pause on the 28th. No, it's not going to do that. We just got a lot of clouds. That's all we can say. So let's see here. There you go. There's one that was taken at 3:30 this morning. A little bit of, I guess, some broken, clouds here and there for those listening on the radio, but mainly cloudy. It'll be mainly cloudy. I predict all weekend long. They're saying Sunday's going to be sunny, but we'll see what happens. it is what it is. And we'll be back with some sports, news, headlines, your comments, more right after this. Your Sudbury Wolves are in action tonight in Mississauga. They will be facing the Mississauga Ice Dogs, and it will be game one of the playoffs for your Sudbury Wolves. So you can catch that game right here on CKLU 96.7 FM, or Eastlink, I believe, will cover the game as well. Then they're back at it Saturday night on the road. But you also have your Sudbury 5 in action here. So if you're not able to make the trek down to Mississauga, you can catch the Sudbury 5. They're back home this weekend. They host the Lebanon Leprechauns on Saturday, 7 p.m. And they look to continue their winning ways following a 1-1 record last week. The team battled hard, playing two tightly contested matchups against Kitchener-Waterloo Titans and the Windsor Express. Saturday's action marks the Five's Easter game. Family tickets are available at $60 plus HST at greatersudbury.ca/tickets. Join the Five for a night of fun, giveaways, promotions, exhilarating basketball action. For a list of their lineup and their themes of the home games, you can visit the5.ca. That's your Sudbury Sports, brought to you by SudburySports.ca. We'll be back with news, headlines, your comments, and much more right after this. I'll just click it again. You can never have too many clicks, as they say. They don't say that, but I just said it. Okay. Your comments, suppose we have some people joining us here on Facebook. Let's see what's happening. Good morning to Nancy on YouTube. Good morning. I don't know if I got that up on the screen. On YouTube, good morning to Vin on Facebook, along with Judy as well. Good morning. Liette, good morning from Collingwood. And Jerome, let's get right to the news. Yeah, exactly. There's tons to talk about. Maurice, good morning. Smiley emoji. Denise, good mornings. Good mornings. Good morning, friends. All have a wonderful day. Happy Easter. All stay safe and healthy. That was Denise. Thank you very much, Denise. Good morning. Dig the Threads shirt, laid back Thursday. Yeah, it's a new T-shirt I got for free, and I'm wearing it today. So, Jerome says, coming home today. May God help you, Sudbury City Council. It's coming for you. Yes, Sudbury City Council has. It says an error occurred when retrieving new Facebook comments on my device. So yeah, some funky things going on with Facebook comments these days. And now my device is noticing that. So something's going on. Algorithms, who knows? We find a way to get her done, though. Liette, I'm confused. The CAO stating in Sudbury paper that councillors gave him the authority to hike salaries at his discretion. Yet a councillor is stating differently. What is going on? My goodness. Controversy in the city of Sudbury. Yes. We will try and get to the bottom of that this morning as fast as we can. Marianne, good morning. Everyone from Barrie liked and shared as usual. Thank you very much, Marianne. And Jerome says, when will council stand up and explain what's going on with the gap, with the geoengineering, going on in the skies over our city, and quit deferring to federal jurisdiction? Or maybe the useless Mark Sede could. I never said that, Mark. It's Jerome. The comments that I read on this show are that of the people making the comments and not of CKLU, Laurentian University, not mine. I'll make my own comments, and they are also not reflected in CKLU or Laurentian University. They are mine and mine alone. Anyone who comments on the show are theirs and theirs alone. And this show does not necessarily reflect the opinions or statements or anything said by anyone at Laurentian or CKLU. Okay? So I just want to get that out of the way because we're supposed to do that every show anyways. And so there you go. Belinda says, good morning. Faith is strength, which is shattered. Sorry, faith is the strength which a shattered world shall merge into the light. Faith is the strength by which a shattered world will merge into the light. Whoa, deep, deep, deep. And my brain, after all this technical stuff, getting this show on the road is it's just ramping up to absorb that statement. But let's let that percolate for a while. And council is corrupt, Jerome says. Okay, well, some definite statements by Jerome this morning. He's feeling fired up, obviously. And I don't think you're that far off with many other Sudburyans who feel much the same as yourself. There's a road closure in Whitefish area due to a collision. Just want to give everyone a heads up. Closure reported just before 6 a.m. This morning, so I'm not sure if it's opened by now. Highway 17 in Whitefish area closed due to a collision. I just wanted to get that out of the way. And Sudbury Star reporting here this morning, keeping on track with councillors and catching up with, following up with the last two shows. We were talking about the pay hikes that our CAO, Al Archer, has given to the non-unionized upper echelons of our city. And in response to the shocking salary increases for some city managers, City Council has ordered a review of its 20-year-old salary administration policy. The document was developed in 2004, and it wants the Auditor General to sign off and authorize the report. Ward 5 Councillor Mike Perrin won a motion during Tuesday's meeting of the Finance Committee that seeks a report on the policy as it pertains to non-unionized staff. It will be presented to Council by the end of September. He says, I introduced the motion because of the recent concerns raised due to increases in non-unionized salaries. It's common practice for employers to have salary administration policies that include the use of comparative municipalities, similar cities to ours, to determine the appropriate salary range for positions in their organization and to make market adjustments to keep the salaries within the approved range. He said this on yesterday. Recently, for some non-unionized positions at the City of Greater Sudbury, market adjustments were quite high. Yeah, 11%, pretty high. This should not happen, as market adjustments should be made in small increments and not be permitted to reach 6 or 8% or 11, regardless of whether a councillor or CAO oversees salary increases. This review will lead to changes to the policy, which will prevent such increases from happening again. Now, can they go back retroactively and take away a salary increase? Probably not, because it's not being discussed. It's not even an option at this point, it doesn't look like. And so they got those raises regardless. And so maybe they'll only get a 3% raise next year instead of an 11%. Times are tough in the upper seats of our city, Tom Davies Square, the jobs that are there. We spend the most money out of any municipality, percentage-wise, on labor on those jobs, by the way. Maybe we're taking a page from Laurentian University that, went bankrupt, that showed that they weren't able to, properly manage their money either. And many, many high-up positions that they weren't even able to explain what the position was, making hundreds of thousands of dollars. They couldn't even explain what their job, the role was. The title was ambiguous and of their job, and they couldn't explain what they were doing. Good day, Monique. Thanks for being on. Well, they have finally confirmed it. The Greater City of Sudbury residents. The Greater City is Sudbury residents. Sorry. Well, they finally confirmed it. The Greater City is Sudbury residents do not and will not have confidence in our local government. Okay, cool. I had to read that a couple of times to see it. The wording correct. High is right, considering it's a part-time job. Well, for city councilors it is part-time, but not for staffers. staffers, it is a full-time job. Now, whether they do full-time work, I don't know. I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying maybe they don't. We don't know. Maybe they're really hardworking, as Billy was alluding to the possibility of. No government is trustworthy. None. Their raises are admission of federal incompetence. So their raises are an admission of federal incompetence. They won't make a public statement acknowledging such. Won't make a public statement acknowledging it. That's Finn. So Marianne says, here in Barrie, the health unit had to retract a measles case as it was a false positive. Imagine that. Really? That's interesting. So they went out and told everyone there's a measles case and then said, oh, sorry, it wasn't. Well, that's just weird. Sticking with the salary thing, that was from Sudbury Star. This is from Sudbury.com. Following last week's news of the unreported 2023 wage hikes for City Greater Sudbury non-union managers, the city's elected officials passed a resolution to review the policy that allowed these increases to take place. The vote came during Tuesday's Finance and Administrative meeting of City Council and received unanimous support. The evening meeting followed approximately 3 hours of closed meetings, including one that postponed a preceding audit committee meeting to discuss an incident in the corporate services department. An incident. It's just like a cyber incident at Laurentian University. This was an incident in the corporate services department, and another to discuss a performance review. Tuesday night's motion resolves that the city CAO, Ed Archer, review the city's salary administration policy for non-union positions, and that he that a report be tabled with the city's elected officials by September. Per the motion, the review is assessed. The review is to assess the suitability of similar municipalities as we talked about. Okay, well, we'll see how that all goes. But what's going on here? It's pretty crazy. It's reminiscent of what's going on at the federal level as well. The Canadian Taxpayers Federation kind of pointing this out of what's going on. So April 1st, we're getting huge increase, 23% increase on our carbon tax for citizens. But yet all of our MPs are getting a raise, fifth raise in 4 years. That's pretty incredible. Pretty crazy. So we'll just check in with them and see what the heck is going on.
Oink oink, the piggies are circling the taxpayer trough. The feds want to move the election back a week, and that would mean that 80 additional MPs would get that sweet, sweet taxpayer-funded pension. But even if half of those MPs lose, moving the election back a week would still cost taxpayers tens of millions of dollars in extra pensions. How nice. Now, the annual starting pension would range between $32,000 and $49,000. But that is just the annual starting pension. And even that downplays just how lucrative these taxpayer-funded pensions for politicians are. So some MPs could serve for just 6 years and still collect a lifetime pension of more than $2 million. 6 years in office and a lifetime pension of more than $2 million for some of these MPs. Now, the government says that it wants to move the election back a week to avoid a religious holiday. Okay, well, I think if the government just asked any Canadian on the street what they think about this, most Canadians would say, well, if you're going to change the election, why don't you just move it a week early? Now, this just looks like the government is moving the election back so more MPs could take that very lucrative taxpayer-funded pension. And look, if politicians don't want to look shady, then they should stop doing shady stuff like this. But wait, folks, there is more bad news, because on April 1, the very same day that MPs take more money out of your wallet with higher carbon and alcohol taxes, they're going to be stuffing more money into their own. How nice. Now, this year's pay raise ranges between an estimated $8,100 all the way up to an extra $16,200. And after the pay raise, a backbench member of Parliament, along with collecting dust in the House of Commons, will be collecting an annual salary that's more than $200,000. A minister's salary will be just shy of $300,000. And the salary for Right Honourable Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, just north of $405,000. And folks, the April 1 pay raise, that'll be their 5th pay raise since the beginning of 2020. Now, what has happened to Canadians since the beginning of 2020? A pandemic, lockdowns, job losses, business closures, some businesses closing their doors for good, skyrocketing inflation, a housing crisis, and record lineups at food banks. But none of that stopped MPs from giving themselves a pay raise every single year. And MPs are about to take another pay raise on April 1, even though 80% of Canadians are against the MP pay raise. 80% of Canadians are against the April 1 MP pay raise. Now, Canadian taxpayers are supposed to be the boss. And Canadian taxpayers, the boss, don't think MPs deserve another raise. But we haven't heard a single member of Parliament from any political party forcefully try to stop this MP pay raise. I wonder why. Now, we often hear politicians say, we're all in this together. Well, I don't think they're talking about me and you and the rest of Canadian taxpayers. They're talking about the 338 of them here in Ottawa. Now, if you're sick and tired of all this, the piggies at the trough, just like I am, head over to taxpayer.com, join the growing taxpayer army, and sign one of those petitions, like Stop the MP Pay Raise. Oink.
So there you go. I don't have anything to add to that. He's pretty much, come on. Good old Facebook. Thank you, Facebook. Appreciate it. Yes. Okay. Anyways, so we're back, and we might have some explanations on why things are the way they are financially in our nation's capital with the captain at the helm. Here you go. So this is our fearless leader when he was in his younger years speaking to a small group of people about a confession he has to make of why it might explain what's going on and why maybe we're going, this doesn't make any sense mathematically. We're getting, by having to pay all these taxes, and you're getting all these raises and stuff. There might be a simple explanation for it. So without further ado, Justin Trudeau will let us know maybe why that is.
I have a little confession to make. I have a slight learning disability. And it's not one that any teacher ever told me about. It was never addressed. It was never responded to. And I only discovered it while I was doing my Bachelor of Education, and we were going through the different possibilities of learning disabilities, and all of a sudden I realized, holy smokes, that's me. And it's not a big one, but it's definitely there. I am dysnumeric. What that means is I have an inability to handle small numbers and little calculations, those easy things that people do so well. I mean, 13 plus 14. 27? Under pressure, it's even worse. So
there you go. Confession from Justin Trudeau probably explains it all right there. And I feel bad that he has a disability where he can't do simple math. But I don't know if that helps you when you're the prime minister of a G7 nation and you're trying to balance budgets and deal with money at that level, right? And it begins with that, but then it gets pretty out of hand when maybe there's some other disabilities there where you're not able to see correlations. Maybe that leads to other things. You're not able to see consequences. You're not able to see, what happens when you make certain policies and, see the end of the road, just like you're not able to do simple math, 1 and 1 make 2. That's sometimes you make decisions based on similar thought processes like math, right? Like if I do a bad thing, it leads to something bad. If I do a good thing, it leads to something good. It's kind of like math, the math of life kind of thing, which leads us to something else with our good friends in Alberta with Alberta News and Views, basically summing up how the country, the state of the country, the state of the union, well, the state of our country, Canada, he says it very eloquently, and so you might as well just let him have the mic.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Alberta News and Views, the best podcast in the prairies with the best newsletter in the prairies. You can listen to me on Substack and Spotify. You can watch me on all major platforms. I set up shop on Substack because it is built by the people, for the people. We have a great community going on over there. So if you haven't already, please join up and please share. Today, I want to read to you a short but sweet. This is a great article. It is called The Lamentable Decline of Canada's Reputation as a Dependable and Globally Respected Nation. This is from Peter Menzies. It was originally posted in the Epoch Times. It says, Canadians are awakening to the fact that they are no longer living in the country they thought they were. And I believe there are a lot of Canadians that view Canada this way. They just cannot believe what they are seeing. Before I get into that, Scott Moe, the Premier of Saskatchewan, is responding to the Bank of Canada saying that we have an economic productivity state of emergency, a national emergency in Canada. Listen to this. Scott Moe says, the Bank of Canada says low economic productivity in Canada is now a national emergency. Turns out Trudeau NDP anti-energy policy is designed to shut down our resource sector, an equalization formula that penalizes the most productive provinces, and a carbon tax that drives up the cost of everything for everyone aren't great for productivity. It is unbelievable. I've read this article. I made a podcast on it yesterday. And the Bank of Canada is saying we're at a point now where if this was a smash the glass emergency, we should be smashing the glass. We have a huge productivity issue in Canada, and it is because work does not pay off here anymore. Morale is down. Justin Trudeau refuses to call an election, refuses to resign. So expect more of the same, which is why I'm going to read you this right now. The lamentable decline of Canada's reputation as a dependable and globally respected nation is gone. The morale in Canada is gone. Let's get into this thing. It's been a few years now since Canada was the moderate, sensible, dependable, and globally respected nation that it grew into during the 20th century. What we have become instead is a country with the world's most radical collection of social policies that is mocked mercilessly by international media for its foolish extremism, is taunted for its unwillingness to defend itself, and no longer has any influence to speak of on the international stage. While we once had a voice that was respected, we now have one that solicits, if anything at all, condescending grins of amusement. First, let's deal with social policies. While all Western countries respect women's rights to make decisions involving their own bodies, Canada is the only one in which there are no laws or restrictions on abortions at all. It is available on request and without any of the term limits imposed on other liberal democracies. There is, in fact, no law. You may think that's great or you may disapprove, but what is undeniable is that you can't get much more liberal than that. When it comes to gay rights and gender issues, Canada has been a leader, particularly in recent years, where Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has not only championed those causes in all their forms domestically, but internationally. Mr. Trudeau has brought LGBTQ2 and gender issues to the table in discussions involving trade partners with Asian nations and famously chided Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. I hope I'm saying that right. At the G7 summit in Hiroshima last year, he has been less vocal when it comes to Ukraine, where gay marriage is not legal, or Gaza, where homosexuality is so vigorously forbidden that its rulers, Hamas, executed one of their own leaders, Mahmoud Ishtiwi, for having sex with another man. Again, you may agree or disagree with the Prime Minister's primal progressivism, but no other nation leader has been more iconoclastic. Where do they find these words? Then there is euthanasia, or as we call it in Canada, medical assistance in dying. MAID, of course, initially justified as a way to allow people suffering from terminal illness to die without having to experience intolerable pain. It is now used to shut down Roman Catholic hospices that refuse to terminate lives on site. And there are plans to expand the law to include the mentally ill and those with depression. Unbelievable. These days, it is pointed to with alarm by disability groups and has been condemned internationally. It is absolutely disgusting. They need to terminate that program. As the Washington Post editorial board, hardly renowned as a collection of reactionaries, put it, quote, the expansion of euthanasia Canada is currently contemplating goes too far. Its made regulations are looser than those of Belgium and the Netherlands, where psychiatric euthanasia has been lawful since 2002, and where serious concerns have arisen about the practice. Those are just some of the big culture war issues of modern times, and while people in a few other countries tend to view these matters more liberally than Canadians, none have policies that reflect that. Then there is the issue of what appears to me and our allies to be the Trudeau government's almost complete disinterest in defending Canada's sovereignty, let alone meeting our NATO commitment to spend 2% of GDP on our military. We are at the moment about $18 billion shy of that number and are so disinterested in making up that gap that the Royal Canadian Air Force announced it is retiring its training jets and will send its aspiring pilots to Texas, Finland, and Italy to earn their wings. Brutal. This comes less than a month after Julian Smith, the U.S. representative to NATO, made it clear Canada's allies have run out of patience. Canada is hovering now just above 1.3% and has no concrete plan to get to that 2% mark, while other allies have made and created plans to get there, if not this year, in the next few years, she said in an interview with CBC. Here inside the NATO alliance, and certainly back in Washington, we very much encourage our friends in Canada to develop some sort of concrete plan to meet that 2% pledge. Little wonder then that the RCMP recently warned that Canada faces pressure to cede some of the territory it is so disinterested in adequately patrolling. There is no need to even start with how the government fence sitting regarding the war in Gaza has coincided with a shocking rise in anti-Semitism and rendered Canada completely ineffective diplomatically. Or that the Prime Minister has declared his nation both genocidal and systematically racist, and in doing so eliminated the moral authority it once possessed. It is worth pointing out, however, that the government's extremist effort to restrict freedom of speech via the Online Harms Act has further raised foreign eyebrows. Writing in Britain's The Telegraph, David Collins labeled the bill Trudeau's most tyrannical attack on freedom yet, being brought to you by the same farcically named Liberal Party who froze the bank accounts of the truckers who protested vaccine mandates. Canadians are awakening to the fact that they are no longer living in the sensible, respected, and prosperous middle power they thought they were. They are now in a nation where responsible, moderate opinions are casually labeled by politicians and supplicant observers as far right. It's unclear whether they have the courage to fix it. So do you think that Canadians have the power to fix their country or want to go back and do it that way? Here is the Argentinian President Javier Milei. He plans to fire 70,000 government workers. This is what it is going to take. He has done everything that he said that he was going to do and the reasons that he got elected. Of course, Argentina was very socialist for, I believe, 40 years. He balanced the budget, I think it was in a month and a half, by cutting government. Now he is going after 70,000 government employees. Argentina reflects the direction that Canada is going, the old Argentina. The direction we need to be heading is the new Argentina.
So yeah, do we have the courage? Can we do it? Once you lose freedom, you have to fight to get it back. It was fought for to get in the first place, and I don't think enough of us are educated, first of all, or have the backbone, second of all, and the resources and the wherewithal, the leadership. And I think it's going to be all right. Well, we'll see how the future is going to be for each and every one of us, regardless of what you think it's going to be. It's going to happen regardless, right? The future will happen regardless of what you think. and you will have to live in whatever world you help to create, whether it's your passiveness, or even if you had fought for this extremely progressive world that we live in, and you agree with it with all your might. You fought for it. Well, you'll have to live in it. So that's enough punishment, I guess, for that. So that's all we got time for today. On Thursday, we will not have a show tomorrow. It's Good Friday. So hope everyone has a wonderful Easter long weekend. And I wish you all the best. And God bless. And we'll be back same time, same place Monday. And so hopefully you all have a great weekend. Wolves are in action tonight against Mississauga. Five are in action Saturday night here in town. Get your tickets, and have a wonderful Easter weekend. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. We'll see you on Monday. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.